Guys, welcome to the J2 Crypto Code. If you're interested in building your knowledge on cryptocurrency, you found the right spot. In today's video, I'll walk you through the current state of the altcoin market and how Ethereum is positioned to take the lead in the next explosive phase of altcoin season. So let's get right into it. Now, when looking at this particular chart here, this is going to give us a really good indication on how the altcoin season happened and what happened in totality throughout the process of 2021. You can see here there was a lot of liquidity and a lot of good catalyst and momentum that entered the market at this particular time period that drove the prices up throughout the entire altcoin market. This chart here is like an altcoin chart, specifically giving you that indication on what they were doing. And as you can see here, moving forward after that big uptrend, basically a year and some change later, we were in a downtrend starting the 2025 cycle that we are in now currently. So with that being said, we have pretty much entered a golden cup zone. And the golden cup zone gives us a really good indication on the recovery mode and kind of the accumulation state of where the market is at and throughout the process of this run. So as you can see here, this green yellowish line here, like this neon color line here, gives us a really good indication of the golden zone. And now we're touching a point where we're going to break that, which is obviously really important. And when breaking that specific territory, that is going to push all the prices up. So that's why I always stress the fact that it is really important to get your butt in the market and get ready to enter a parabolic phase. Now, moving on to this particular chart here, this chart represents the Fibonacci sequence level, right? And these indicators here that you can see, the 0, the 0.23, you can see the 1.27 and the 1.68. This is a really good fundamental technical tool that a lot of traders use, people that view charts on a longer time frame, because I'm not a trader. I view things on a longer 2, 3, 4 month time frame. This is what I like to see here. So you can see how the market was moving in 2021 and in the 2017 bull run, right? In the 2017 bull run, basically, it topped out at the 1.0 level. But in the 2021 bull run, it topped out literally at the 1.27 level. But the bottoms were just crazy, right? It had literally, this thing moved very great throughout the process of the last run, which is why I tell you guys, when you're seeing red in the market, you need to get in, because let's say you put $1,000 in and it went up to four, and it basically went up to 4,500. You would have had 10 shares of Ethereum at 4,500, and off 1,000 you would have made like 45 racks. So it's like, the gains are definitely possible when you're in it at the right time. You know what I mean? Now, when looking at this, you can also see it where if you would have got in a little later, outside of being in at $90 or something like that, you would have an opportunity of making like a 2,000% gain from basically $200 and then going to $4,500. So, you know, really see a lot of momentum, and I really see this playing out. I don't really see like that type of 2,000% gainage move, but I see more like 1,000, 1,500% possibly throughout the process of this run, and it's currently happening right now with Ethereum, which is going to give a really good indication that altcoins are just going to run and do 10, 20x's as well. So now looking here and where we are currently at right now, um, see that we're just really at a good state. You can see the bottom price was basically at $1,000. And like I tell you guys, if you're seeing where we are at right now at the 1.2, it's giving us a really good indication that we're getting ready to enter or possibly touch, right, $8,000. That's why I say, like, anytime on my channel, if you guys have been listening, which you should be, right, I always say that, you know, the technical analysis is going to back up everything that I'm saying. This level here at the 1.2 is at 8,000, and the 1.68 is at 14,000. So that's why I always say 8 to 12 just to be safe. But if you're in this market and you've been buying at the correct time, which is, in my opinion, you should have been buying at 2 grand. But I know a lot of you basically got in at about the 3K mark. So that means you need to be selling around 7,500, 8,000, so you can hurry up and make your 150% gain and go on about your business, right? So If we get hit up here to the 14,000, that's great. Personally, I wouldn't hold that long. Especially if I put, I know people who put 40, 50 bands in Ethereum, right? There's no point of you waiting until it hits 10 bands. You need to get out at about eight. Even if you bought one share, if you bought a half a share, you need to be getting around the $8,000, $7,500 mark. Now, if we go take a look at this particular chart here, this is going to give a really good indication on what the volume was looking like throughout the process of 2021. Um, and I'm going to give you a little backstory on that, right? So obviously the volume was really great throughout this time period, right? You can see it. You can just see it. I mean, if you have eyes, you can see that the volume was there. But NFTs throughout this particular time frame was a really big play, a really big catalyst that just drove a lot of liquidity into the asset of Ethereum, right? This is all Ethereum that we're talking about just in general and at this particular point, right? So you have to remember that when we were buying NFTs or when people were buying NFTs throughout that time period, you had to own Ethereum to basically even buy one. So you couldn't even complete a transaction of buying one to even own one. Like to get the art and things like that, you couldn't even have it. You had to have like a regular share of Ethereum in your portfolio to even buy this, right? So there isn't that type of catalyst around, which is why I said before the percentages on this cycle isn't going to be a 2,500 to 2,000% gain. It's going to be like more of a 1,300 to 800% gain, depending on where you enter and just on the market in totality. Now you can see here the volume hasn't necessarily came up yet, and where we are cycle. So the volume hasn't even hit yet. So that gives me a really good indication that if the volume picks up, right, we're gonna hit this. I mean, we're gonna hit this level very easily, in my opinion. I think around November, like I've been saying, we are sitting at about 7, 8,000, and we're just gonna be looking really and feeling really, really good doing that. That means our altcoins are running, right? You have to remember, some of you may be like, okay, why is he always talking about Ethereum and then he says something about altcoins? Ethereum is like the father of the altcoins, right? Like it's just literally going to tell us where it's going to run, and it's going to tell us where all that liquidity is starting to move downward towards, right? So it's just really important to monitor that. The Bitcoin run is over, guys. Like it's cool and dandy to just watch that and watch that particular asset. But if you wasn't in Bitcoin basically at 50, 60K, it was no point in buying. And it's no point to really continue to look at it after it basically broke all-time highs, because that's not doing anything for us as altcoin investors. You need to be watching Ethereum, and Ethereum is going to give us the price action and the liquidity and all of that money. That rotation, right, guys, is actually going to be coming out of Bitcoin and going into Ethereum, which will drive the prices up, and you will start to see what happened in 2021. This volume start to come into play where we needed to come into play by this particular mark, where I see us, having making a lot of money by this September 25th time frame, right? So that's pretty much all I have for today, guys. I just really want us to take advantage of the opportunity that's at play. You can see it. We're literally getting ready to break this golden cup zone, and we're getting ready to blast off into another century here. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys for joining and watching the video. In my next video, I will be giving out four major altcoins that I see you guys could be obviously making tons of capital on and do 4 or 5 X's. And it's actually going to be Cardano, right? It's going to be Cardano is going to be one of the coins that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about XRP for all my XRP holders out there. I'm going to talk about Chainlink, and I'm also going to be talking about Ethereum, all the major opportunity that's going to be there for the little sister token of the big asset of Ethereum, right? So please like, subscribe, and comment. If you're on my YouTube and if you're on my Instagram and anything like that, just please leave obviously additional comments, but just share and like because I'm trying to produce value for other people. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. This is J2 Crypto Code, and I'm out.